So it's lesson 9, part 2, and we're working on that bar. We've got the bar showing up, but there's nothing in it. So our next step is to create our main menu XML. We're going to add a couple options with our icons in it. And then we can attach that at runtime into the app bar. So if we create, we're going to create a new sorry, I'm not going to go through the file menu. I'm going to right click on the resource folder and click new Android resource file. So I'm going to call it main_menu. And my resource type, I'm going to change this from values to menu. This will save it into a folder that we don't actually see in the Android view, but it exists in the, we don't see it in the project view. No, we see it in the project view, don't see it in the Android view. Under resources, there'll be a menu folder. We'll create it, so we'll call it main menu. We'll click OK. So it adds a menu subfolder to resource. I guess we did see it. And we get an empty menu. So in here, we're going to place 2 items. We'll give this an ID of action main. That's going to load our main activity. Give it a title. And we'll set our icon with our artist foreground. We're going to set the show as action to if room. If there's room to show this, we will. And we're going to need to create a string resource here. We don't actually see the title because we're going to see that we're using an icon instead. So we don't need to use an icon. We could just make these text links if we want. We don't include an icon, the title is going to show up. I think what I may actually do, well, we'll see if we can use the black icon, if we can color it white like we did on the floating action button. If not, we may have to go and grab the white icon from the material palette, but we should be able to change the color. Our second item, we'll call it action profile. This time we'll set our icon as the profile. I'm going to create another string resource. So there's our menu in Android Studio, finds and renders previews of those icons. Let's see. Now we get icon in mode. And so when you added them, did it add them in the same way? Does your drawable look the same? Okay.
Pretty much the same. It doesn't have all like the foreground background.
Yeah, because we don't have the tint. Just look at our floating action button for a second. Our floating action button, what did we set? I think we actually used the white icon itself, so we didn't have to tint it. Okay, so yours show as white. That's probably worth doing. Your icon show in white. Okay, so I'm gonna maybe re-add those two, but rather than adding them as image assets, we'll try adding them as vector assets. They should be, I guess vector makes more sense because they're SVG files. So I'll right-click resource. We'll try it this way. We'll say new vector asset. So I'm going to grab those SVGs again. So my recent actors. So I'll just name this IC artist. We'll try it this way. See if it switches to white. Oh, and then you tinted it? Then we can tint it? We'll tint it white. All right, good idea. Thanks for that suggestion. So I'll add the profile icon in the same way. I'll add my person and I'll just call it IC profile. I think that makes more sense. So same two icons, but we'll tint them white. So this menu, we've created it, but it's not attached. We need to bind it to the app bar. And this is where, if you go through the official docs, just show you the app bar docs. So here's their guide. So we've created a menu. Actually, here, we'll just go back to the beginning. So this explains, so this is what we've basically already done, right? We're making sure our activities extend app compat. We've disabled, we've made our theme have no action bar. We've set up the toolbar and we've instantiated it. Now we've set up our menu. And then it tells you how to handle items in the menu. So the step that's skipped here, we've done this, we've done this. This step is not in the documentation. So our menu is not actually attached to our app bar. We need to follow this. So in our activity main now, we want to attach this. And then we'll do the same thing in our profile. Just close this. So in my main activity, we're going to need to declare the toolbar. Now notice, again, we don't want to pick that first toolbar. That's the old Android toolbar. We want this one. Pick the support V7 widget. And notice by picking that one, it adds the reference to the V7 compat toolbar that we need. And we can add it to our list of things that are instantiated. Consistent. I should maybe call it app toolbar. My variables match the actual IDs in the UI. We need to find it, and we need to call set support action toolbar. Here we want to override. Oh, sorry, I'm in the create. Gotta go outside. Thank you. So override after outside and on create. On option item selected. We'll import the menu item class. So now we can use an if, we could use a switch, and most of the time we're going to use a switch statement. We're going to have multiple options. I'll write it as a switch because that's probably what we'll do. An if statement would do, because we actually only have two options on this toolbar. So we get the ID of the item. We have action main and action profile. Our case is action main. We're on the main activity. So in this case, we're actually not going to do anything. There's no need to reload this activity. We're already here. So we can just return true. In the case of action profile, what do we want to do? We can do it in one, or we can do it in two, create the intent and then start the activity. I'll just do it in one. We'll start the profile activity. We'll create a new intent. Sure, we can call thank you, we can call finish, and then start. Yeah, sorry. So this should actually allow our menu to work. Actually, I think maybe there's one more thing. Sorry? Right. Thank you. Didn't add the missing line of code, the missing section. Yes. So this is what the document means. So we'll need to do an import here. We call get menu inflator. And then we use the inflate method. When we hit r.menu, it recognizes our main menu resource. If you go through all the developer docs, your menu will never show up. Your toolbar will be there, but there will be nothing on it because it's never inflated. So they've missed this. This should be everything we need to do. Let's try it. Sorry? Icons did not tint. Okay, so yes, the tint didn't work. So now we can go to the profile. If I click log back in. Okay. So clicking my main activity does nothing. I'm already here. The profile. Right, we finished the activity. So yes, I don't want to finish the activity. I'm going to remove the finish here. I want to keep it so that I can go back. And then we'll need to figure out the icon tint, what we have to do to make these white. And then we'll also add the same toolbar to the profile activity. So we can go to profile. Right now I have to click back, but we can leave that toolbar here. So I could just click the icon to go to the main activity. Then we could finish it if we want. I didn't see an option in there, Sean. Maybe there is. Okay, I'll re-add it. And then I'll re-add it and you can show me what I missed.
Yeah, why use clip art, not local? That's why if you use the asset type clip art, it allows you to. That's
Right. So if you open the XML, there's the fill color. Interesting that it's 8 characters. Oh, right. Well, I could just change those fill colors. Yeah, so changing the fill color works. So that's better. So we basically just want to add this. If we want to add it to the profile activity, we have to add the toolbar control, which we can do. Then we're going to need to instantiate the toolbar in the onCreate method of the profile. And then we need to add those 2 methods, the inflate method, the inflate method, and then a similar version of the menu selection, but we have to toggle it. We'll return true when they click profile, and we have to start an intent to load the main activity if they click the main. So mostly we're going to copy and paste this, but we're going to have to make a couple little changes. So I'm going to grab from activity main the toolbar. I'm going to put it at the top of my profile activity. And I want to grab some of the code from the class. Oops, what did I just do here? Hang on. So in my profile activity, we'll reference the version 7 toolbar widget. Yep. Good question. Yeah, that's not a self-defined method, right? I'm overriding the Android method, so that method does return a Boolean. But I'm going to follow the method signature. So we'll reference it. We can have our toolbar. Pulse action bar. Whoops, sorry, set support action bar. Set action bar is for the old toolbar. And now we can copy those two override methods, the method to inflate the menu and the method to handle the options. I'll copy these and then I'll have to toggle the code in here a bit. Those can just be copied. I'm going to move my start activity instead. We want to run main activity instead. So now we should have the same toolbar on the profile activity that will take us back to main. Again, we're inflating the menu first. Then go to my profile. Main, right? So now we can jump back and forth. We log out. We don't see our toolbar anymore. You don't have to use the app bar in your assignment. You can navigate around any way you want. You can use one of the other components. If you want to simply use buttons, you've already put buttons on and you're using intents to navigate around, that's fine. I will leave it up to you. The other thing you can do is you do have the option to look at using the basic activity that includes a default toolbar, but you still have to put the items in it and code them. Just the control exists already rather than the way we added it manually to the empty activities. So if you want to explore that, you can look at those templates as well. As I said, it's a bit maybe a bit confusing at first because it breaks the activity into two separate files. I believe so, yes. So you have a lot of options here. Okay, it's 10 o'clock, so I'm going to give you guys a couple of choices. One thing that we can do is we can complete the Google Auth. If you want to do that, we can do that. The other thing that we can do, if you would prefer, is we can leave the Google Auth for next week. Most people are here today more than usual. If you would rather have the time to work with the people in your group on the assignment, and I'll just hang around, and if you need help, you can ask for help. We can do that as well. Maybe show of hands for Google Auth, and a show of hands for assignment work. Okay, that was, so I think pretty clear. People would want to work on the assignment. Okay, so I will finish Google Auth, but we'll do that next week. Or I guess the other option is anybody planning on using Google Auth in the assignment?
I would put it in there.
Okay, well, the other option is I can give you time to work on the assignment now, and I can screencast over the next few days the finishing of the Google Auth. Rather than take class time, I'll do it, but the video will be online and the code will be on GitHub. I'll try to do that before the end of the weekend so that you guys do have it. If you want to implement it for next Friday's submission, that will be fine. Does that work? Okay, so I'm going to give you the rest of the time. I'll stay in the room. And if you don't see the Google Auth by like Monday, somebody remind me. But I do have one other announcement. There's one other unrelated thing I want to tell you guys about, which is this. Okay, Research Innovation Scholarship Day. That's coming up April 10th in the afternoon on Wednesday. And that's going to be in the new technology building. If you have a really cool project that you've done, you might want to showcase it. So if that's the case, click here, and the Entrepreneurship Center and the Research Center will set students up with a booth. There'll be lots of people from industry coming in to check out your project. If you have something that you want to show, maybe even the app you're doing for this class, good chance to kind of get that in front of people, see where it might lead. It's not every semester. Occasionally we've done it in the fall, but usually the spring is the big one. Right? And we realize, yes, it's a busy time for students because it's right near the end of your semester. At the same time, this is often when you have a good project because you may have a project available to show. Okay? So think about this. It would be great to have some representation. Obviously, we have a lot of good students in the program. You guys have done a lot of interesting things. Okay, so I don't know if I sent out an announcement to the registration page. I probably should modify it. Yeah, I'll resend it with this link. This is the better link, but I'd encourage you to check it out. So next week, we're going to look at kind of networking and sensors using some of the other features of our phone, using things like maybe camera, GPS, phone. How do we integrate those into our app? We'll take a look at that next week.